Hello and welcome to our Your Voice, Your Future Town Hall as we look ahead to a new school year in the borderland.
In a matter of days, most schools in El Paso will open their doors for all students for the first time since the pandemic started. We have a panel of school leaders in studio ready to answer your questions. Isleta ISD Superintendent Dr. Xavier de la Torre, El Paso ISD Interim Vince Sheffield, and Socorro ISD Assistant Superintendent Mariel Macias.
Also joining us is Dr. Glenn Fennelly. He's the pediatrics chair at Texas Tech in El Paso and a pediatric infectious disease specialist. Now, this school year will present a unique set of challenges for school leaders across the borderland. Your Voice, Your Future's Alyssa Bethencourt spoke with school leaders about the challenge of moving forward while keeping staff and students safe during the pandemic.
It's been 2 years since the first day of school looks so full. 100% capacity is the norm, and local school districts say they're prepared to welcome students back safely.
We do not want the pandemic to be an excuse for the life of these kids, because 20, 30 years from now, no one's going to care.
Canutillo ISD Superintendent Dr. Pedro Galaviz says the motto for his district this year is stay healthy, stay safe, and stay informed. Across the city, El Paso ISD officials say they're focusing on easing students back into life on campus.
Even under normal circumstances, we know there's those first day jitters and that time that's needed to ease in. And so there's going to be extra grace and time and care spent with that this year.
The Anthony and Clint Independent School Districts were the first borderland districts to welcome students back on Monday morning. The superintendent for Clint ISD addressing the academic challenges both students and staff faced with virtual learning.
Especially our elementary schools, you cannot possibly teach a student how to read behind a computer, right? So we know that our students are behind by a grade or two.
Like many borderland school districts, Canutillo, El Paso, and Clint ISD say they're taking the necessary precautions recommended by the CDC and the state. That means socially distancing, frequent disinfecting, and practicing good hygiene. The biggest change? Masks will not be required.
I think it's safer for everybody that we continue wearing masks. I cannot mandate it, but I can certainly encourage it.
So that is going to be a big change for a lot of our students.
Despite the many challenges they may face, school districts are agreeing on one thing: welcoming kids back to the classroom safely and making this school year one to remember.
Even though everybody certainly has their concerns of the ongoing pandemic, we're really looking forward to having our kids back in school.
We are ready to rock and roll. We're ready. We're open. We want to welcome your kids, and again, we're going to have a great year.
Obviously, it's an excitement for us to come back after a full year of not being in schools.
I'm Alyssa Bethencourt reporting.
We've heard from superintendents at a couple of districts that started classes this week. The largest districts in El Paso start on Monday, all represented here. What are some of the things that are top of mind for the three of you as we get closer to the first day of school? And what are some of those things that are important to the three of you as we start the new school year? And feel free, whoever wants to start.
Well, we are, as has been mentioned, very excited to welcome back students. Many of the elements that help mitigate the spread of the virus in the Isleta Independent School District are still in place. The exception, of course, is the mask mandate is no longer enforceable. We must comply with the governor and Texas Education Association, but it's important to get kids back in school and start to address and accelerate some of the deficits that they experienced during the pandemic.
And Mr. Sheffield, what are some of those important things for EPISD?
I echo what Dr. De La Torre just mentioned. We are very excited to get our students back because we're looking at this as getting them back to the place where they belong. Of course, the safety and welfare of our students are always our top priority, and so we are poised to mitigate any circumstances that can present themselves in light of the pandemic and the continuation of the pandemic. As was mentioned, masks are no longer required. We know and understand that we will have students and staff with masks and some without masks. We need to respect their choices and move forward and what we are at schools to do, and that's to educate our students and provide opportunities for them.
And Ms. Macia for the Socorro School District?
Yes, we're just truly excited to have our students returning, our faculty and staff. Top of mind is that we've learned a lot throughout these 16, 17 months, and everything that we've learned, we're going to continue to implement to ensure that we stay safe. One of the top priorities, as we've mentioned, is of course our student safety. We know that the masks are going to be optional yet highly recommended. We know that that's something that our community does a great job in, which is supporting each other, and we honor everybody's differences. But here in El Paso, we tend to mask up, so we're going to continue to ask for that. The other thing is that social emotional piece. We're going to bring everybody back in, virtually hug, teach, learn, and make sure that we're meeting everybody's needs as we transition back. It's been difficult, to say the least. However, our teachers, our custodians, our bus drivers, everybody came together to ensure that our students were safe, that we were moving forward. Now that we know that there are some gaps, we're going to do everything in our power to ensure that we fill them so that we could get back to that new normal when it's time.
And in the last 24 hours, the CDC issued new guidance for in-person learning. Some of the bigger takeaways, as some of our panelists just mentioned, students, teachers, and staff are now being advised to wear masks in schools even if they are fully vaccinated. The CDC also recommends that schools maintain at least 3 feet of distance between students within classrooms, down from 6 feet. Vaccines are encouraged but not required. The CDC also recommends regular testing, contact tracing, cleaning, and disinfection measures, which we have posted on KFOXTV.com and CBS4Local.com.
And something we posted on our Facebook page, we posed this question to our viewers on both KFOX TV and CBS4 Local's Facebook page. Basically the question, do you think Texas should reintroduce mask wearing in schools? And here's how some parents and viewers weighed in. Gracie Gurera said, schools need to enforce mask wearing. I want to mention to you, I did go through a lot of these comments. It's a pretty mixed bag here. This person says, my kids will wear a mask when returning, not only help keep themselves safe, but others around them as well. Nancy Sanchez says, if you want to wear a mask, then wear one. If not, then don't. That kind of comes down to the choice there. One thing I want to focus on, though, is, and bring it to the panel, some kids will be wearing masks, some won't. So maybe we can start with YISD, Dr. De La Torre. How are we going to mitigate, some kids are wearing masks, some are not. How are we going to teach kids to be respectful either way?
Well, we have to expect them to comply and adhere to the standards that we set for students. Our administrators, our instructional leaders, our teachers have all been trained on promoting the safe school environment with one-way hallways. We will have masks available for students who may not have a mask. Parents can request desk dividers at their child's workstation if they'd like. So all of the elements, as I mentioned before, that were available to our students, our faculty, staff during the pandemic months are still available today and will be made available throughout the entire school year. So we believe we have a very good system. We, as you know, we're the first district to pioneer the rapid testing. That is still available should a child appear to be ill. And we will also continue to encourage vaccinations, immunizations, and host vaccine sites at our schools for most of August and September. We really need to promote that. The more people that get vaccinated, the greater level of comfort I think we will all have.
Mr. Sheffield, did you have anything to add to that?
Yes, we've had several discussions with our administrators about respecting students or the teachers, or for that matter, any employee's choice to wear a mask or not wear a mask. So we are fully confident that we have mitigation efforts in place, as was mentioned. we are not relaxing any of the things that we were doing during the height of the pandemic. We will still encourage vaccinations. We still have our isolation rooms available. We have our nurses trained on administering the rapid tests if we should need them. Of course, we'll still have efforts in place for if we have to quarantine individuals, things of that nature. So we're fully confident that we are prepared to accept our students come Monday morning, and we're excited.